Hello, ladies and gents. It's time for part 2 of Day 9 Daily number 538, where we learn to be a better gamer. We're watching White Ra do Heart of the Swarm things. Yeah. And it makes us happy. In these 4 games that we're looking at in today's daily, we're seeing White Ra do the same build again and again and again and again in different situations. No execution goes perfectly. We got to see the strength of the opening in the very first game, just the straight up, I'm killing your workers, bleh, sort of thing. But we saw that there were some issues with transition. In this game, we're going to see a really interesting response from White Ra when his opening gets totally destroyed. We're going to specifically see that the Oracle is not just a good tool for doing harassment, but it's a very good tool to deal with a sudden surprise counterattack, just due to how quickly it kills Marines. I want to just note briefly, I don't think that the Oracle is a good containment unit. Mutalisks, amazing containment unit, because if at any point you walk out, the Mutalisks are going to march right on in and kill a bunch of stuff off, and then they can fly out again. And then when you try to leave again, they can fly on in again. Oracles don't quite work this way because they drain so much energy when they're attacking. You can go in there and do damage once, and then, even if they defend, or even if they set up a defense for a second time, or if they choose to leave their base, you've already depleted all your energy, so you don't really have a second attack coming up. We're going to see it specifically right on here. Alright, rockin'. This is Voice, some guy. And down here is White Ra, the man. So let's go ahead and go to the White Ra cam and do our usual standard notes as to what's going on in the opening. We see White Ra opening for a pylon. Ah! White Ra then transitioning to a gateway. Oh, he's so Gosu. He gives me chills down in my Gosu bones. Some interesting things like 12 gateway, 14 gas, a little bit atypical. We have the 17 cybernetics core instead of an 18. I just say chrono boost away, don't get cute. Straight on up. Interestingly enough, White Ra is electing to go for second gas without even really having any knowledge of what his opponent's doing. White Ra is blindly going straight for a Stargate. Don't hate the Stargate. Appreciate, appreciate. And of course, Voice, being the boss that he be, spots it right off the bat. So, fudge butts. We do see that our opponent is early expanding, however. Let's see the way that White Ra responds to this. Now, this is obviously some nice little play from White Ra, trying to get the Stalker to maximize damage. Now, we can go Oracle, or Void Ray, or Phoenix. I think it's clear that Phoenix is stupid, because what are you going to do? Just lift up the SCV that's building the bunker? I don't know why I brought that up as an example. That is so stupid. Why would you build a Phoenix? What's wrong with you? What are you going to do? Go to his base and lift up the mule, and then drop it again? And then he won't mine for 5 seconds because he's bad? If he was Code S, he would start mining right away. 5 seconds of mining time not lost. Welcome to the GSL. Don't build a Phoenix here. What are you going to do? Kill his factory when he lifts it in 5 minutes? God, that's bad. Don't build a Phoenix here. It's a good thing I'm educational. It's a good thing. However, I think there is an interesting debate. Do we go Oracle? Do we go Void Ray? I think that there's nothing wrong with this option from White Ra to go Void Ray, because we're assuming we're going to be in an engagement right away. We want to make certain that we have some sort of non-depleting power to be able to maybe take this down right away. But we're just going to go ahead and cut to the chase and note that things don't go well for White Ra, because Voice correctly target fires the pylons. Continued production. I'll even turn on the health bars for a moment so we can just see that things end up getting pretty foibled. White Ra, though, I think does a brilliant response. He double expands. Ordinarily, it's a teensy bit risky. But keep in mind we can build the mothership core, which can turn any one of these bad boys into a cannon. We've also seen our opponent go for a bunker here and a bunker here and commit a lot to this attack. So his tech's probably not very far along, which we see, indeed, it's not very far along. So in general, even if this were Wings of Liberty, I think that this is not... Well, actually, in Wings of Liberty, this is a little thin, but in Heart of the Swarm, I think it's it's fine. Building the mothership core would be my next little play here. However, the weird thing that I saw at this point, White Ra in this spot I thought would go mothership core and then go gate, 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 or gate, gate, robo, to be able to hold off any attack. However, this is swag. This is super duper awesome. Alright, 3 days in a row, immense sirenage. A Stargate goes down, and I was kind of like, White Ra, what? I was blown away, my mind melted in half. I went bonker bananas. Any term you want for I just lost my frickin' mind. And then afterwards, investing in the gateways. The thing that's really sweet is that this attack, this sudden counter swing, I thought was certain to kill White Ra. Man, police sirens are doing all sorts of things. There's like variety police sirens. It feels like the cops went and shopped at Toys R Us and got one of those really cool siren generator noise thingies that has like 8 options on it. Listen to that. Come on. So this is where I will just note, this is once again what I would describe as total Bonkerville. Theoretically, this should be death. This should be one dead Terran player. Or excuse me, this should be one dead Protoss player. Get out of there, White Ra. However, due to the nice, fast building oracles, we don't even really need that much. Brand new oracle. The other one is floating away somewhere. And this bad boy just comes right on in and rips down the Marines in record time. They try to target fire, it doesn't work. Nice. And simultaneously, White Ra is able to mount this huge counter-offensive. Really weird, really effective. I saw someone in chat go, so wait a minute. If my proxy Stargate fails, I should just go Stargate. It's not, the goal is not to think about it from a start to forward, like, okay, my plan is to go proxy Stargate, and when that fails, go Stargate. Instead, it's to think about what can my opponent throw at me. Certainly, opening proxy Stargate is to kill a number of openings that the Terran could do, to mess with the remainder, and to put Protoss in a good position. But when that dies, we have a new question. Terran could attack us soon. What's the best way to deal with some surprise attack? Based largely on Marines. Well, the best answer, interestingly, is an Oracle is going to work extremely effectively. This won't be the last time we see this in this daily. Pretty sweet. Pretty darn cool. And in fact, if you have enough time to get 2 out, you can even do a counterattack. That is how frickin' good it is. So in the last game, I was noting that I really wished White Ra had been able to go for a Robo Bay earlier. This is a comparatively earlier time to get a Robo facility. Because now we have 3 Nexuses, we've had a totally failed opening. And certainly we can't get in, and phooey kablooey, that kind of stinks, but the Oracle served its primary purpose, which was to keep us alive, and of course to just whack down a ton of units swiftly. And then White Ra just has this amazing position. Again, these Forge upgrades are mega, hyper, stupid, ultra, depressingly late. But we have a very early 3rd base. So that's what we're trying to offset it with. And then this game is going to be a fairly standard looking game. White Ra should have pylon here and here already to see this. Because when this attack occurs, the most important thing that we want as Protoss is to have the counterattack pylon. I'll actually come back and note that. Actually, this is... Hell, I'm going to come back to 12 minutes. When we're at this period, where we're getting our Colursus up, and we have a spotter here. We're trying to do some damage here. We really, like Naniwa says it best, the number 1 rule in PvT is always have a proxy pylon. Really easy one is to leave a probe here, and if you see an attack, just walk up and go pylon. That's really needed, because at any point, the dude could be starting to get aggressive with us. We want a pylon here, and here, here, all the pylons. We want a pylon here. Because it's very nice for when this attack comes up to be able to take an Oracle and move up here and harass with some warped-in units. Here's the attack. Oh, Envision a Warp-in, hitting this expansion. I know there's no expansion there, but still. Still, oh so good. So White Rock sets himself up in a nice position. And we see some nice utility of the Oracles in the later game, tracking down spare bits of units, but really the utility of the Oracle is pretty low when they're in small numbers in the late game, with the exception of perhaps this Time Warp, which I think is just heavily underutilized. Get him, White Ra. And once again, we have a position where White Ra is at 131 food to the 73 of his opponent, and he's going to clean up because his opponent only has 2 bases. And he wins shortly thereafter. So what was the other one I was going to see? Ah, this is it. Aha, aha. So I'll be leaving that game because White Ra just rolls the enemy really quickly, and I want to get to another one. So what did we learn in that game? We saw the White Ra again doing the same opening, but getting crushed. However, just taking early expands and relying on Mothership Core, Oracle, is super rock solid. Super rock solid. I actually think that players could probably get away with doing something like Fast Stargate with Oracle and double expanding with really just high consistency, and that could just be a standard opening. The other game I wanted to look at, where was it? It was in Pack 6. Oh yeah, I just want to note, again, if you go to day9.tv and look up this episode's page, the links to the replays are in there, if you would like these replays. Where is this game? Where is this game? It is a game against Nyosho Golem. Golem, yeah, there it is. Golem on Courthall City. In this game, what we're going to take a look at is 2 things. First, we are going to get the chance to see some mech play. Yeah! We're also going to see other ways in which our opening can fail, and of course, other ways in which this opening totally kicks ass. How it's a really good answer to these counterattack swings. So again, nothing really goes perfect in these games, but... nothing really goes perfectly in these games, but they're interesting enough. Oh, by the way, I am seeing many people do what we would describe as an error in the chat, talking about don't get too addicted to the Oracle because it will be nerfed, or the Mothership Core clearly is going to have some readjustment. There's always this, especially in like beta periods, that there's going to be a lot of things that will be changed. Ignore that. Ignore all of that. Ignore it, damn it. Ignore that. Why? 2 reasons. For one, everything we're talking about is a lot of concepts that fall out of us understanding what we have. This Oracle unit, as we've seen in just 4 games, hell, even if you've never played Heart of the Swarm, you can see in just these 4 games where it works and where it doesn't, and how that works with our resources. So even if Blizzard's like, alright, we're introducing the Silver Surfer as a new unit, you're like, oh my god, I love that comic character, he's freaking incredible. If they put that character in, you can still use the same sort of things we're talking about in this daily to sort of analyze what works well and what doesn't. And also, I don't know how many of you were in StarCraft 2 beta, but there is a number of things that people said, oh, that is 100% going to get nerfed. Oh my god, are they going to nerf that? The Colossus? Dude, you can't rely on the Colossus because that thing's just total bullshit and broken. And it's been largely unchanged, so you never know. I prefer not to step into Theoryland. I'm also scratching my foot because I have an itch and it feels amazing. Alright, let's go back to this game. Let us go back to the game. Panic not, little birds. God, you guys are just birds of the day, if I may say so myself. So White Rod does an early scout, spots gas. What do we have to worry about? Fast Reaper, fast Factory. Excellent. Not really that worried about an early expand. Maybe some sort of funky, he goes for a... he could go for like a reactor and then expand, but that's generally considered a weak expand opening. So White Ra is going to do something even more psychopathic than we had ever thought possible. He's going to get his frickin' Stargate before getting Warp Gate and before getting a Stalker. I don't like that. I think that the speed benefit that you gain is trivial compared to the fact that the Terran player has complete and total vision of everything Muse is doing. And it always tends to mess with the economy a little bit. Like, you know, there we didn't really get our Oracle out as fast as we'd like. So let's talk about what could possibly go wrong. You know what would really suck? Is if we rush to get out this Oracle, and expand makes sense because, again, an Oracle is gas heavy, and a Nexus is what we do with the remainder of our minerals. And look at that, getting a second Oracle without even seeing anything. Wouldn't it suck if we ran straight into a mine? Yeah, that would stink. Wouldn't that dare be a poopy opening? So White Ra has some responding to do because he now knows his opponent is indubitably going for a factory. However, do note, we do have the opportunity to not deal so well with Widow Mines with the Oracle, but to deal with anything else that can get thrown at us. Having the simple mothership core with the, with the Envision to detect, and just one or two Stalkers, winds up being more than enough. And because these Widow Mines need to be mobile and take quite some time to burrow, the Oracle, again, excellent in these sort of snap answer little packs of Marines. Very good as just a nice defensive tool. So cool. By and large, you'd still say that White Ra's in a little bit of a worse spot. You know, he lost his Oracle. He hasn't done damage with it. Still making some oracles. But we did see the mines up here trying to step down here. This is one of these, like, you must have good intuition as a player. Just because he had a mine here doesn't mean that mine is going to stay there forever. If you see an attack with a lot of mines... Actually, let's go through that. If you see an attack with a lot of mines, it's pretty likely that that other mine is gone. Why? Because what player thinks, I'm going to do a mine rush, except I'm going to leave a couple home for defense? Not a good one. A good player would not do those things. Why defend if your whole goal is to attack and kill with an attack? Fantastico. So I think this is a totally reasonable play. So right now, the information that White Ra has is my opponent is still trying to get up an expansion. So just going for the usual mix of stuff, getting himself up an Oracle for harassment. And with this, killing off this I think is a very good long-term play because we're pretty sure that our opponent will not be able to do an attack against us soon. Rushing up, killing off a few things. Now here's where I get a little confused. This is truly, genuinely where I get a little lost. Alright. One of the reasons I showed from White Ra's point of view is that I didn't want everyone to see that, oopsie daisies. Sorry, the colors are getting a little swapped. One of the reasons why I didn't want it to be on the everyone cam is because I didn't want everyone to know that Golem is in fact going for mech. This is very clearly mech, in case you did not know. This is mech. From White Ra's point of view, he still doesn't know. His opponent could be going for, like, there's players out there who've been doing this thing where they go for Marine Widow Mine, and then they just transition right on back to fast medevacs, more barracks. They just do the Marine Marauder medevac thing. However, if you open Widow Mine, you can get a really fast starport with a tech lab, and then research Caduceus Reactor. And Caduceus Reactor is the thing that makes your medevacs heal way mega faster. Like, stupidly faster. Heals so much freaking damn faster. and then they lift off the starport, land it to build a reactor, and then they have a barracks land on the tech lab. So that's a cool little tech play we're seeing quite a bit. But we're not, in White Raw's shoes, we're not like yet convinced that our opponent is going mech. So when this goes down, I'm kind of like, huh? Because theoretically, we could be going for Blink, Immortal, Sentry, which is something that we've definitely seen before. That would make sense to me, because if we've seen Mines, I probably don't want to be going Zealot heavy, because I can't really do very much versus the Mines. But Blink does work excellently against a... does work excellently versus a meching player. I think White Raw was way ballsy floating over here. I think that is like just over ballsy. Because, I mean, most Terrans are going to be like, alright, burrow the Widow Mines there, and then just do my thing. So again, we see White Raw getting his thing up. Blink is coming up, and again, it's 140 seconds, not at that 170-second thing. This is a pretty good sign that our opponent is going mech. But still before that, White Raw made all these decisions to go Blink and Immortal. So I think that that is my understanding of it. I think that White Raw was intending to go for like Blink Immortal versus either Marine Marauder Medevac plus some mines or mech. But I think that one thing that White Raw does very, very well, and I think the last game we watched where he did that triple expand, I think that that is an excellent example of it. White Raw is damn good at doing nice intuitive moves. Like the double expand last game. Intuitively, mech is immobile. For instance, mines and siege tanks have to be not moving to do anything. Other things like this, White Raw intuitively just sort of like, oh, let me just do some blink up things. Picking off a couple of units. He's going to exploit the lack of mobility of the meching player. How are we doing on time? You know what? You know, this is what I'm going to do. We're actually going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to finish this game, and we're going to see just in a simple way how White Raw exploits the immobility of mech. That is now going to be the core discussion for this game. And then after that, we're going to see one final game where White Raw gets totally slaughtered. So we'll be back after a 2 to 3 minute break. See you then. See you then.